Right, here we are at the EV conversion area, and we're here with Chris at Fellten because he's going to show us some amazing things that Fellten are doing at the moment. So here you are, mate, and tell us all about it.
So this is the Electric and Eclectic stand at Fully Charged show, and we've got a range of different things to show you. We've actually got our full mini kit on display this year, which is rear battery box, front pack just there, and we've got the center HV bit that runs up the middle, which is actually in the mini that is behind the cameraman right there, which we can pop the bonnet on if you wanted, Tim.
Yeah, that'd be good, mate.
It's just here, here we go. Have a look at that then, Tim.
So what's the kilowatt hour in the front of the mini here?
So the pack in total is a split, so it's a 19 kilowatt hour total. We've got 5 modules in the front in the box, and there's another 3 modules in the rear.
Okay.
And then there's a Zonic 70 tucked down underneath, and that's the little inverter just there. So it's a 350 volt system.
And the Zonic 70, what's the kilowatt power on that?
72 kilowatts.
72,
at
hence
peak.
the name.
Yeah, it's 175 newton meters of torque in total.
And the nominal?
Nominal's 350.
Okay. This looks great. This looks amazing. I don't think I've looked in detail under here before, but because it almost looks like a twin cam engine in there. It's proper cool.
It does look pretty cool.
I love it.
And then we've got 6.6 charging, 2.5 DC, but we've also got 3.3 kilowatt DC bi-directional,
Yep.
which is what's actually powering up the TV just here. So it's quite simple. It basically uses the same connector used on the Ioniq 5. You plug in, and then you can run up to 3.3 kilowatts from it.
Right. Okay. And how much? So if you're using it all day, how much power did you use from the battery?
Yesterday, I think we used about 15% of the battery to run the TV for the day.
Okay. And having been out in the green one, which it's exactly the same as this one, the Heritage one, other than the fact that that one doesn't have the bi-directional charging, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So this is basically the mule car that we built to start off with when we started the BMW project. So this has been sort of used and abused and chopped and changed. So we're always running this probably a stage ahead of the ones that are actually in production, just so we can do all the testing on this one before we release a new product out into the market.
Okay. So we've got the 0 to 60 just down here, guys. It's 11.5, 0 to 60 in pure mode. Well, I like the sound of that, pure. And then we've got sport, 0 to 60, 8.5, range of 100 miles. Now, I was speaking to the chap from Recharge. What's his name?
Tom.
It's Tom. And he said that the WLTP range is 110, but he was actually getting a good 100 miles. Is that what you guys are getting out of yours?
Yeah, that's correct. So we actually did rolling road dyno testing at one of the UEs just outside of Bristol, which we've got access to. So we did all WLTP testing. So this one's actually on 18 kilowatt hours, but the new version, which we're just starting to produce now, is on 19 kilowatt hour pack. That's just a slight improvement in the technology that's happened over the last sort of year since we've been developing this.
Okay.
It's a drop-in replacement, so it's really good.
And are there any more plans for the Mini? Or is this it? Is this the perfection, or are there any other mods that you want to do to it?
I think this is the perfection of the Mini for now. We do have a Mini Clubman Estate at the workshop and a Mini Moke, so I think we'll probably do a version of this. Front end stays the same, but we'll do a different version of the rear pack that fits the Moke and the Clubman Estate, basically, or the Estate. We've also got the universal box hiding over there.
Well, let's go
I'd
and
like
have
to
a
show
look.
you.
Yeah. This looks good. As a lot of people were talking about this yesterday. So yeah, Chris, can you give us some detail about the Felton battery pack?
So this is 55 kilowatt hours total in that box. It basically uses 590 modules from LG. So we've managed to get some supply from them. So we've got 2 vertical cooling plates that sit in here, and then the cooling's actually external. So there's no internal loops of anything inside the pack. So it's actually inside those. So it just means you can never get a coolant leak in the future like you have got in some OEMs are actually starting to get issues with their cooling packs because they've got so much coolant going on inside the battery pack. This is nice and simple, so it sort of removes that issue from ever happening. Yep. We basically then have CCS in, so it does 70 kilowatt CCS charging. All the CCS controller and everything's actually built into the pack, so we kept it as compact as possible. And then we've also got our dual contactor and our pre-charge system for things like Model 3 motors or whatever 350 volt nominal motor you want to run. Okay. This will basically run it. So you've got 630 amp main fuse, which is also your safety disconnect to meet your R100.1 standards. You've got 3 HV outputs here, which are all rated at 25 amps, so that'll do your AC, your DC to DC, all that sort of stuff. That's your CCS one, and then you've just got a data port. I think it's like a 21 pin data port, which does your 12 volt signals, your CAN bus network, and sort of all those sort of bits.
Okay. And what was the? I think you might have mentioned it, but what was the total DC charging you can do on that?
So it's set at 70 kilowatts at the moment, but we can actually parallel these or series them. So we've designed the architecture so it can go to 800 volt if we want in the future, or you can put them in parallel. So on our Defender stuff we're developing at the moment, we've got one of these in the front, and we've actually got a seat box, which has got another 55 kilowatt hours in. But then in theory, we can go up to about 150 kilowatt charging speed, so we can start ramping that up. Total weight of that is 320 kilos.
Okay. And what sort of cost? I mean, it always comes down to money, doesn't it?
So the retail cost on this, if we were going to sell it retail, is 22,000. But obviously we do a price to companies that we've got here that we supply out to for them, so they can make that little bit of margin on it.
Yeah. No, it sounds good, and it certainly looks the part. Of how many cars has it been tested in so far?
I think we're in about 5 vehicles at the moment. We're building about 1 a week. I think the big benefit with this is that we can slowly make them more and more cost effective because we're producing volume. And the difference in the quality is that because we're producing these in such volume, everything can be built to a really high standard because it's not a one-off. It's a heavily designed. We spent a year and a half designing it to make sure it is optimized and perfect for what it does.
And I think you've got a great stand here showing off a lot of the things that you guys do, and this is essentially the mini setup, isn't it? But without the body on. But there's two kind of questions that I've got about what you guys do. First of all, what's happening with the Skyline?
So the Skyline is in lots of bits.
It's normally in bits.
Yeah, it's always in bits. But I have actually got the full body kit and stuff for it now. So I've got all the stuff there. I just never have the time to actually build it.
Well, it's not like you've been busy or anything with all these things like that, But also, I know you've been making some really good headway with DVLA because I know that's a big issue, and I think you guys spoke about it in the talk yesterday. Unfortunately, I was working, so I couldn't actually be involved. But yeah, what are we having progress with DVLA?
We're slowly having progress. So the DVSA have reached out now and given us a letter of interest, so they're actually going to work with us to develop some standards. The main thing is just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. We've written a base set of standards. We just need to try and get the transport minister involved, but the problem is they keep changing them. So once they get a set that transport minister that may stay in its role for long enough, then maybe we can talk to them in a bit more depth.
I've got a feeling that the government might be changing again soon. Well, one can hope. Let's not get political. I try not to. But no, that's great. Is there anything else you want? Oh, yes. Okay. Grab the mic.
We have the training.
Yeah, of course you do. Yes.
We have Chris and Annie posing.
Just relax.
They're still smiling today. So yeah, we've got our Felton Training course sort of stuff set up here for anyone that wants to basically do their HV training and stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got the level 1, 2, 3. We've got a level 4 coming later this year, which is out a lot more in depth inside the battery pack. And we've actually got our full test rig here, which this used to be the MX-5.
Yes.
So that was obviously our front pack.
I recognise the top bit there.
Yeah. So same with our Hyper 9 with our gearbox, and we've still got our MX-5 gauges, so you can basically power the system up, and we can spin it up and everything.
Did you scrapper?
No, I actually sold it to someone because I never re-registered as electric. Someone bought it and they've re-shelled it back into a petrol car again. So they've actually converted it back.
Oh my goodness!
It just proves the concept.
Sacre bleu! What's going on?
Right, it proves the concept that we converted it and someone converted it back to petrol.
That's pretty cool. What engine did they put on it? I don't care.
It's some boy racer that was doing drifting and wrote his off, so just took the bits out and put in another one.
Well, you can't really blame him for that. So yeah, I mean, obviously, at some point, the Skyline's going to be back. Are there any other? I live in hope, Chris. And then you can let me have a drive. We've got a load of other EV conversion companies here today. Now, I'd like to have a chat with Jack from Silent Classics because we're going to have a look at his 240Z, which I'm extremely excited about. But I thought, who better to take me around the other EV conversion cars than Chris? This is the first time he's heard about it. So, Chris, I don't know much about some of the other guys, and obviously my technical kind of experience isn't as good as yours. Nowhere close.
You did buy a TVR, didn't you?
No, that's car knowledge. That's not technical knowledge. So I'll beat you on car knowledge.
They're both bad, are they?
Right, this is painful. I could hit you over the head. Right, so can you tell me a little bit about this vehicle here?
So this is, from knowledge, a lightweight done by the guys at Clean Classics. Oh, here he is.
Hello.
Let's
How are you
actually
doing?
I think the best thing
nice
is to actually hand the mic over to this man who can actually tell you something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Tim. I've not met you before.
Yeah, no, how you doing?
What was your name?
Ollie.
Ollie. Nice to meet you, Ollie.
Yeah, nice
Can
to
you
meet
tell
you.
me a bit about this wonderful? It's not a Defender, is it?
No,
It's
this is Series 3 lightweight, so it's the military variant of the Series 3. So basically the same as the Series 3 over there, but the military version.
So Ollie, grab the mic. Tell me about the conversion and tell me a bit about Clean Classics.
Yeah, okay, cool. So so we've sort of created this conversion from the ground up. It's based on Nissan Leaf's componentry.
Nice.
Yeah, we're focusing on these old Land Rovers at the moment. So Series 1s, 2s, 3s, and we've got this system. So the one that we're sort of marketing now is a 40 kilowatt hour, so it's up to 100 miles range. And yeah, so Clean Classics. This is actually my brother-in-law's car.
Right.
And you know, he asked me a few years ago about what can we do. I was working in motorsports at the time. I'm was a motorsports engineer, doing data engineering and design engineering for Le Mans cars, basically.
Ah, cool.
So that's of course.
With regards to the conversions, how come you guys decided to go for the classic? The classic Land Rovers instead of the Defenders. What got you started into EV converting?
A fairly natural progression, really. One, Jeremy, my brother-in-law, had this. It's been in the family for years and years, and he wanted this car converted. He was the guy that sort of got my attention onto the electric sort of classic car scene. So that was the opportunity to get started, but also. When I was about 9, I did a project on a Land Rover. I've been an absolute Land Rover nut since I was little.
So it's the passion for Land Rovers, basically.
That's it. And it's also the sort of, I've also then gone and got an engineering degree and gone into motorsports, so I sort of love the high-tech side of stuff as well. So it seemed like the perfect merger of passions, and all sort of made sense.
And you obviously got the Land Rovers. Are you looking to do other vehicles as well? What's the future for Clean Classics?
So right now we're doing the Series 1, 2 and 3. We're going to be doing Range Rover Classic and Defenders soon. We've got a Range Rover Classic that's mine, actually. Finally, I'll actually do my own one. So that's going to be later this year. We're going to start a system for that one, which will probably be quite different. But again, I'm sure Felton don't want to hear it, but I quite enjoy the creative process. So I'll probably create something that's our own.
Okay, brilliant.
Maybe with these, I'm generally getting a few parts from these guys as it is, and I probably need a bit more support as we go on. So, yeah, see what balance we can do.
Awesome. And whereabouts can we find Clean Classics?
So we're down in Kent. It's sort of by the Folkestone services. It's just up this 10-15 minutes from the Channel Tunnel.
Awesome. We'll have to we'll get your details, and I'll come and have a look. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd love
Good
that.
man, Ollie. Nice to meet you, buddy.
Yeah, cool.
Right. So what else have we got round here? Right, I do recognise a couple of these vehicles because I know that the Range Rover behind is a Tesla swap, and this one's a Hyper 9, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So this one's actually got a Hyper 9 system in it onto the original gearbox. And I think it's got a small, I can't remember what size pack. I think it's 5 Tesla modules.
It's definitely 35,000.
It's definitely 35,000. So, yeah, the guys that... definitely 35. This is your car sales side of you coming back out again, isn't it?
Let me get my sheepskin coat on, and selling a car is often like making love to a beautiful woman. No, let's not go there. I already did. Whoops. So what's unique? What's different about the conversion on this particular one from electric car converts?
I don't know. I've had a huge amount of involvement in this car. Okay. Obviously, we supply them a huge amount of parts, so the Hyper 9, the stuff like that would have come from us. Yeah. From what I remember, it's got the 5 Tesla modules, Type 2 charging as standard, and this is their sort of entry-level system. Benefit of these guys is you can drop off a vehicle and they will just do the conversion. They're not doing the restoration for you. No. That's their model. Is you bring a car in that's already in a good state, they will just do the conversion, and that is it. So it's an in and out, quick turnaround. Same with things like the Range Rover.
Really, as soon as I walked past, I saw a classic Range Rover. I saw Tesla swap. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, he's got a cover over it now. He's kind of spoiled it for us. I'm sure he won't mind. Just saying, I didn't touch it. Chris did.
It's all me.
What have you done?
I don't know. There's all sorts of clippy bits.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There we go. Look at that. So yeah, do you know the spec I'm guessing it's a Tesla small drive unit.
This is actually a Model 3 motor.
Wow.
Rear.
Wow.
So it's a Model 3 rear with a 3.4 to 1 reduction set. And then we've done a set of custom output shafts that go straight onto the original props. It's then got the Fellten 55E universal pack in the front. And he's then got CCS rapid charging as standard and all that sort of stuff. So with this system, I think the Barnaby that runs the company can drop this in just over a week or so. So it's a real quick, because he just buys the systems and drops them in from us.
Right.
You can turn them around really quick. So realistically, I'm not 100%, but I reckon most of their build times is between 4 to 8 weeks on a vehicle, in and out.
Wow.
So they do a really good job.
Well, where am I going wrong, Chris?
They're not overcomplicating it. They're just getting it done to a good level for people that want conversions.
Right.
Which I think there's a lot of really beautiful conversions here where they spend a huge amount of time and energy, but a lot of the day-to-day people in around London just want to get a car, drop it off, pick it up as quick as they can and get out on the road. And this is what this is allowing them to do. That's why we did the universal pack, really. It's just for that speed. It's not for the full bespoke. It's for the people that actually just want to get a conversion done and get out driving it.
Okay, so this has got your battery pack, it's got the Model 3 motor, and what sort of management is it running?
So this is a Ryan battery management system, and then we've got the Ingenix control system that we made loads of changes to their software to run the motor, so it all talks nicely. So this actually does like discharge current limit and charge current limit based on the battery while it's communicating with the motor.
Okay, and was this the system you were working on when I first came to your workshop, I'm guessing?
Possibly, yeah.
Like 2 years ago or something?
Maybe. It's probably not far off around that. We've been working on this for quite a while, this universal box.
I must admit, every time I see a Model 3 motor, I get a bit green-eyed because I always wanted the Model 3 motor in the TVR. God damn you, Wedgie. Anyway, that's brilliant. It looks really good. Hopefully, Barnaby might actually let us go for a little spin in this later, which would be good. What I really wanted to know, what is that RXE thing? It's not a classic, it's not an EV conversion as such, is it?
Well, it sort of is.
Is it?
It's a converted off-road buggy. It's a
Wicked.
one-off bespoke. The guy's actually here. You probably might as well have a chat with him.
Okay.
I'm sure he can tell you everything about it.
We've got Steve here. Steve, can you tell us a bit about this? What is it?
Yeah, well, basically, it's technically what you call a sort of like buggy. We road legal. Predominantly, we do off-road because we off-road race most of the time. And it's basically taking the vehicles we do comp safari-wise and keeping that lightweight tone effectively. You tend to find most electric cars now are getting quite heavy. And we wanted to get it back down to sort of 400 kilos. So the vehicle weighs 430 kilos with the battery. It's designed to, technically be on the race scene. So we do a lot of 15-minute races and then an hour's charge time because we're sitting in the pits basically in between categories. But it's also a great toy that, a couple of our customers have got tracks in their back garden. Noise is a big issue, and they need electric versions so they don't get complaints from the neighbours.
No, it's a really good idea from the EV point of view, from a sound thing, because I live very close to Santapod, and although the people that move there, they still want it to be quiet, which is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, these are toys like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Aerolatums, that sort of stuff. They put a grin on your face and smile, but at the end of the day, with this, you've got the lightweight performance, 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, but it's got a 2-speed gearbox that allows you to do 100 mile an hour.
Oh wow!
So it's set up for that fun factor. Most of the tracks that customers use it on are short tracks. So we've got it's got to be designed to get all that power out of the battery as fast as possible and enjoy themselves. Most on full power. Most customers are tired after 10 minutes basically, but we get about 30 to 40 minutes out of a charge on full power, and then if you run it on eco mode you get about 2 hours out of the battery with a 2-hour charge time. Getting the balance basically.
What's the actual battery size and the motor spec?
Battery size is 9 kilowatts. It's an Enduro motor, 140 Newton meters. It's more the torque we're after than the horsepower, because torque is acceleration.
Yeah.
And then RPM of the motor is top speed. It's big. That's why we've gone for a 2-speed gearbox. That's used in our petrol cars. The gearbox, it's usually got forward and reverse in it, so we just made it into a 2-speed forward. So it then gives us the compromise of both sides. But the thing with off-road is we use so many different tyre sizes. that acceleration and top speed is always going to be a trade-off depending on what tyre size you're using. But we find with the electric motor, it's got just too much torque. So when we run a too small a tyre, you just line up the back wheels all the time. You can't put the power down. So we find this size of tyre is perfect.
Perfect. And whereabouts are you guys based? And
We're based up in Stafford.
Stafford, yeah.
Yeah, up in Staffordshire. I build obviously a multitude of these, so I have tracks around the country running my kit and that sort of stuff. They've all asked for electric as well because of the noise regulations and that sort of stuff. Generally, the electric side of things is more for people who want to buy the Ferraris and stuff at the moment, because with the corporate entertainment market, you've got to have double the fleet to be able to charge it continuously, because that fleet has to run for 8 hours a day basically. So it hasn't quite got the time for that sort of stuff yet, but it's great to play on the road and all that sort of stuff.
it looks like it'd be a lot of fun to have a ride in. So I'll take your details later, and
Everybody
be great.
gets in as a grin. So
Yeah.
it's one of those.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for showing us.
Take care.
Right. So other than we've got Jack, I think he must have slept in. What do you reckon? Did you take him for a few beers?
No,
Chris?
I didn't take him for a few beers.
Maybe ciders. Probably ciders. It's a West Country thing. So yeah, I'll wait until Jack's here and we'll get some more information on his 240Z build. But thank you very much, Chris, for showing us around your section, and speak to you later.